My question involves the impact of focusing on two different sets of desires and that impact on my creative power and the manifestation.
There's no negative impact. You could have 1,000 different desires if all of them make you feel good when you focus upon them. As long as you're focusing upon the end of the stick of the desire that feels life-giving, then you are allowing all things that you want to come to fruition.
I've heard you recommend in a workshop fashion writing down 3 desires to start with, let's say, to focus on.
Do you know why? Do you know that when we encourage you to write a desire down,
yes,
it's not because you need it to write it down to create it. Mm-hmm. It's that in writing your desire, for the time of the writing, you hold yourself in vibrational alignment with it. So it's an exercise of allowing what you want.
Right.
We want to hear you, but we want to stick this in real quick. There are 3 steps to the process. Step 1 is ask. Life causes you to do that. You can't not ask. Step 2 is the answering to what you're asking. Source does that. You heard us explain that. In the moment that you ask, Source becomes it. That is quite an answer and calls you toward it. Step 3 is you must allow what you're asking for. So when you sit with the 3 things that are really important to you and you write about what you want and why you want it, there is a pretty good opportunity for you to deliberately align with the essence of your desire. It's the equivalent of letting go of the oars, because you can't talk about what you want and why you want it without turning downstream. Mm-hmm. When you talk about what you want and how you're going to get it, if you don't know how you're going to get it, you often turn upstream. When you talk about what you want and who will bring it or when it will come or where it will come from, as you ask these questions that you don't have answers to, it almost always turns you upstream and makes you doubt and feel powerless. But when you write about what you want and why you want it, it almost always causes you to let go of the oars. It's an exercise of closing the gap. In fact, every process that we've ever offered is about closing that gap. Not one process is necessary for creating. Life causes you to ask, and Source answers. Every process is a process to help you turn downstream, to let go of a little more resistance.
And I can definitely feel that when I'm focused on visualizing all that I'm wanting and appreciating having it vibrationally.
Because you've got hold of it. In other words, when you start to visualize something, it's like you're saying, I'm in charge of this thought process, and I am deliberately directing my thoughts visually, mentally, toward positive outcomes. Downstream, 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 downstream. Where sometimes life just catches you off guard and you have a knee-jerk upstream reaction to it. But when you sit deliberately to write or visualize, you get a better handle on where you're going. Do you ever find in the beginning of a visualization process that sometimes thoughts of what you don't want creep in or even dominate at first? What do you do about it?
Anytime any negative thought starts coming in, I just try and focus back on perhaps something else that I'm very positive about.
And do you find that, since it's all in your head anyway,
yeah,
that in a visualization setting, that even though a negative thought might creep in and turn you upstream, that since you're just visualizing, it's just air, mm-hmm, that it's easier for you to get it and turn it than it would be in the middle of an argument, so to speak,
right,
or in the middle of a real life manifestation where you're observing something upstream.
Mm-hmm. So if I can create, I guess, especially throughout most of my early 20s, I was just throwing all kinds of ideas out there in terms of things that I wanted to do and achieve, and coming into this.
Before you go further, we want to stick something else in. Hold that thought, because we like where you're going, but we want you to contemplate this in light of the whole of what you're asking for here. When you deliberately conjure an image for the purpose of creating. We want you to understand that so often people think, well, I'm going to sit and do my creating now. And we want you to understand that all that visualization is practicing the vibration of letting what you've already asked for in. This is just vibrational practice. All that visualizing is not making something happen. It's letting something that's already happened in. That's such an important distinction. You're not creating with your affirmations. You're not creating with your visualizations. You are practicing a vibration that lets it in. So the more visualizing you do, the more you set a tone that lets more in. So now we want to go back to the very first thing that you asked, because it's so important. This is the way we heard it. If I have 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, but let's say 2 things that I really want, do I split my energy by focusing upon 2 things rather than giving my undivided attention to 1 thing that I want? And we want to say to you, 2 things that you sort of kind of believe are much more powerful for you to focus upon than 1 thing that you doubt. In other words, so you want to use the things that you believe most as your reason to focus, because when you take a desire for something that you believe you can accomplish and you give your undivided attention to that thing in which you have belief, now you've practiced the vibration of belief, and now all the things that you want in that practice of belief must be allowed, even if you've been practicing this idea of belief on a different subject than the other things. Does that make sense? In other words, there's resisting and there's allowing, and it doesn't matter what you're using as your excuse to allow.
Right.
That's why we always say, start with the easy things. Start with the things that you believe. Because when you focus upon the things that you believe, you close the gap. And when you close the gap, you let in all the stuff you want. Helpful?
Yes.
Powerful to know. Now, we interrupted you and you were going someplace really good.
Okay. So in that sense, with a lot of different ideas coming forth, but never manifesting many of them, because I would get to a point where I'd be like, well, actually, okay, maybe I don't really want that particular thing or whatnot. Now I'm at a point where I'm quite clear on everything.
Well, you
a lot
see,
of things
here's
that I
what
do
we
want.
think happens, and see if this doesn't resonate with you. This is what so many people do. We're going to give you a very easy to follow depiction here. So life causes you to want something, and for a while you're writing about it and you're thinking about it, you're visualizing about it, and you're feeling pretty good about it, and you're moving toward it. Now this is an important distinction. More than 99% of every creation is completed vibrationally before you see the physical evidence of it. It's just the way it works. You have to think a thought and get it really active in your vibration before the evidence is allowed in. So, and man has been telling that story in a lot of different ways. Even in Genesis, as man tries to describe the way God created the planet, everything that is manifestation was first thought and thought upon a long time before the manifestation occurs. Well, now all of you here in your leading edge expression, you are following this same process of creating, only it's easier for you. The process of creating, the gap between the inception of an idea and the full manifestation of it is very short now. This is the time of fast creating, and so it doesn't take a lot of time, but it does take steady direction. And that's why we tell the story of Jerry and Esther going from Phoenix to Yuma, which is halfway to San Diego, about Phoenix, Yuma, and then back to Phoenix, Yuma, and then back to Phoenix, Yuma. And so what happens is, and this is the way we really want you to get a sense of this. So life causes you to want something, and you begin moving along pretty well toward it. But then, because you can't see the manifestational evidence of it, then you don't hold your vision upon what you want. You begin to look at what is. And as you begin to look at what is, then you live more contrast that gives birth to another desire. And as you begin to turn your attention toward the new desire, but it's taking longer than you want, then you begin to notice what is. So what happens is, new contrast keeps showing up and getting your attention and muddying the waters of the pure thought about what you want. And that's why your question feels so valid and is my quest for so many different things what's slowing me down.
Right.
And we want you to understand it's not the quest for different things that's slowing you down. It's your not staying in the direction of any one of them long enough to see them to fruition. You're taking score too soon. You're looking for the physical evidence and feeling the discouragement in the lack of the evidence and then turning upstream because you're using a bogus indicator as your directional guide. You're looking for manifestational evidence as your directional guide when you want to look for emotional response. In other words, as long as you're feeling optimistic, it's in the process of becoming. In the moment that you start doubting, you've turned.
Right.
And until you get optimistic again, that one's done. You might as well go on to another one. You see. So we just want you to find one thing that you feel optimistic about, and everything you want will then happen. Isn't that interesting? Just find one thing that you feel optimistic about. Find one thing that you feel appreciation about. Give it your undivided attention, and everything that life has caused you to ask for will come in. A lot of people who begin doing this work with us report in something similar to that. They say, it feels like I have a rubber band stretched back really far, and when I found this material, I let go, and a whole lot of things happened really quickly. And we say, because a little bit of allowing goes a long way, because you've been asking and asking and asking and asking and asking. Oh, you have such prolific vibrational escrows. Oh, so much in your vibrational escrow. And when you chill out a little, stuff starts getting in. But then you start overdoing it in this deliberate creation stuff.
Right.
We called this for quite a while the science of deliberate creation, but you took it all too seriously. We see, suck, you try to suck, cancel, try to suck your thoughts back before law of attraction gets hold of them. Oh, I thought a thought of something that I don't want. What if law of attraction gets hold of that? And we say, just chill out. You are where you are. Your stream's moving toward what you want. This isn't a big deal. You're worthy beings. It's supposed to work out for you. It's supposed to be fun. You never get it done, and you want this ride. Can you imagine Jerry and Esther saying to the river guide, where will we take our boat out? And he would say, oh, many miles downstream. And they would say, well, we would like to put our raft back on the bus it down the canyon, and put it in the river just a few hundred yards from where we're going to take it out, because we like instant manifestation. And he was a very accommodating man. He would have done that if they'd asked. But he would have said, all right, crazy lady, but I thought you wanted a ride on the river. And this is the thing that we want to say to you. You didn't come here in order to go immediately to all of those manifestations. You gave here so that contrast could help you give birth to them, so that you could contemplate and choose and decide. You came into this creative environment so that you could focus yourself into alignment, so that you could feel the satisfaction of some discord coming into alignment, and the feeling of things clicking into place, and then you could watch the manifestational evidence of your alignment, and then you could, with that new accomplishment, now stand in a new set of contrasting experiences that would give birth to yet more desire, so that you could focus in the direction of it and feel the alignment of it, and feel yourself clicking into place, and then see the manifestational evidence of your alignment. This is the joyous ride that you want. Not one of you, we have never seen anyone say, I'm going on vacation. They tell their friends, I'm going on vacation, and I'm at home, and I'm going to go here and here and here and here and here and here and here. In about 2 weeks, I'm going to come back home. And then they say, wait, what was I thinking? Home is my final destination, and I'm already home. Why go? I think I will just check vacation off my list. I've accomplished my vacation, and it was so much less expensive. And we say, you didn't go on the vacation to get it done. You went on the vacation for the fun along the way, for the new ideas, for the stimulation of thought, for the interesting things that would occur, for the mixing it up, for the opportunity to create. And that's the way you felt about this life experience. None of you said, I'll go forth, I'll decide what I want, and I'll get it. I'll decide what I want and I'll get it. I'll decide what I want and get it. You said, I'll go forth and I'll mix it up. And I'll know what I don't want, which will help me to get clear about what I do want. And I'll do that all day, every day, until I formulate my idea of the life that I would like to live.